Hello everyone and welcome to the full market analysis volume 4. So this is again looking at all the market pairs that we watch and paying attention to all the reversal zones that we're keeping an eye out for in order to switch our momentum. So it gives you a little insight exactly what we're looking for this trading week. So before we actually get into the video, we do actually have a trading group, so that's available for anyone that clicks that link in the description. So anyone can see exactly what we do. So I definitely do recommend you to join that. It gives you a bit more insight than our usual videos. Okay, so what I will be doing is obviously showing you our watch list. So we have a few pairs to run through, not so much. I'll try keep it short, but the one in yellow is gold. That's the one that we're going to be looking to trade most likely this week, and we'll do a complete separate video for that. But we'll just start with the video and start with GBP USD for this pair. So as we can see right here, we're on a current uptrend, and we've got our coming to our reversal zone right here. So what I want to see right now is that if we can fully break this above here, so something is a sort of line like this, then we'll start to see continued momentum to the upside and see exactly how long we can push this up. But as we not exactly closed properly above, we need to wait and wait for a 4-hour closure in order to determine if we are pushing. So what would make this pair invalid is if momentum changes, and that would have to push price in this direction here. So if it comes below here, if it does come below there, then again we'll be looking for sells. But as we can see currently, everything is still nicely flowing up. So consider looking at some buying opportunities around this region. So just to quickly give you the value range, it's 1.243 to 1.248. Okay, so moving on to GBP Swiss franc. Again, majority of the pound pairs are in an uptrend. It's just the case of the siding pair that goes alongside with it. They all have their different meanings around it, if you know what I mean. So like they could be looking to short for a different time frame, but obviously in the long term, it's more about what we're seeing right now. So on the 4-hour time frame, that's where we do most of the analysis. This is the long-term time frame. But if you start to go lower than the one, such as 1 hour 15 minute, you can start to go a lot deeper into drawing zones and our trend lines as well. So just one thing as well with our trend lines is, as you can see here, it's not exactly perfect, but the way you should be drawing your trend lines is if you connect two points together, that actually makes up a trend line. So I use the wick to wick as the points, but you can also use body to body. So this is a body here, so that's a body here, but as you can see, it not necessarily works out very well. So that's a body and that's a body, two touch, and it just works out. Closure here, and we'd be signaling for a downtrend, but as you can see, we're not actually in the downtrend. We're still technically pushing up. So this is why I use the absolute maximum and use the two wicks here as the trend line. Okay, so there's just a quick lesson on trend lines, but back to the reversal zones that we've got talking about here. So I still have this momentum bias that we are pushing up. Our reversal zone is this level here, so 1.1902 to 1.1955. If we do go below here on the 4-hour time frame, then we'll be looking for some shorts, so roughly in that region here. But as of now, we're still pushing up. So pushing on to our next pair, GBP AUD. As you can see, we are still range bound from the start of March. So as you can see, it's a lot of sideways and choppy movement, hence why I've particularly been avoiding this pair, not really focused too much on it. But we are starting to see some potential signs that we could be breaking out now. Obviously this is good news because we can actually start to trade it, but I want to see it push to the downside as we're coming close to it. We may potentially start to see this in the next trading week. So this range is between 1.952 to 1.964. If we do get a closure below, like so here, we could be looking for some shorts. But as you can see, I doubt we would find a reversal to the upside. But again, this is Forex. There's no point in trading what we believe. We only trade with what we can see. So as you can see, current downtrend again, 2 point on the trend line as we spoke about. Bit rough, but we got it here. 1, 2, 3, even more points that connect is even better and a stronger trend line in our opinion. But again, yeah, you see a short-term move to the downside. So moving on to GBP CAD, pushing our way through to a nice short downtrend here, slightly moving towards the upside. So what I want to see here is if we can break below this reversal zone here on a 4-hour time frame, we could be looking at some shorts in the long run. So this is at 1.733 to 1.738. Again, more or less just waiting. This is more or less complete. We just have to find the 4-hour closure before we find that pullback. Then once we find that, we start to see some momentum and some possible entries in this region here. So this is partially complete. We will do, again, if we do find out that we are looking at some possible trading opportunities, we will post the videos separately like we normally do, roughly 2 to 3 minutes, and give you an area of entry. So that's not to worry. This isn't the video for this. This is just to give you an idea of why we start to change our bias, and it gives you a bit more advanced notice as opposed to just waiting on our videos like every day. So hopefully this is obviously helping. But yeah, moving on to JPY, push to the upside, potential downside move if we can close below this zone. As you can see, we're just on the top of it. So this is at 134.288 to 134.822. All we're doing is looking for that closure below here. We'll then anticipate a pullback and then look for some shorting opportunities, and talk about TP and take profits in the chat, in the group chat. That's why I do mention join that if you do find our method interesting and you want to see the behind the scenes of it. So moving on to Euro GBP, push to the downside. Again, we're still bearish here, but if we do come across this zone here, 0.883 to 0.886, we could be looking at a push like this, push to the upside, a pullback in a range bound in this area, and look for some pushes to the upside. Again, this is all pretty much a laid back approach. We have gold to look for, but we'll do a separate video for that because we could be looking at a possible entry for this week. Euro USD, currently on a push to the upside. If we break below here, we would be looking for some shorts. So this current range is at 1.082 to 1.085. But still, momentum is to the upside, and we are continuing to look for some buys in this pair. Moving on to Aussie dollar, US dollar. We are slightly looking for some potential switching momentum. As we can start to see, there is a slowed of momentum. If you look at candle sentiment, the size of the candles are shortening and they're getting thinner and thinner. And if we do get a break below this zone here, we could be looking at a very nice opportunity to get into this short. Almost would be really good to see if we can get into a short here if we find a switch in at this point. So this is a 0.630 to 0.63251. So if we do get that push to the downside, reverse, look for the pullback, and could be interesting to see if we can pull and make some good move to the downside, and try get in before this trend line and has actually been developed. So If we do get in a short trade here, we will get in before the uptrend, and obviously people would be looking to buy here, even though the trend line is still pointing up. But remember, we're focusing on structure here before the trend line, and that's actually part of the strategy that we adopt here. So in terms of trend line, it's actually structure is first, and then what comes into play next is obviously the price action and the movement and the pullbacks, etc. But then it's the trend line. If we're still in an opposite trend line, then it's most likely that we will find our position to work out. So again, same thing here with New Zealand dollar, US dollar. We are very close again, so a lot of potential opportunity for next week, as we start to see a lot of short sentiment candles here. So as you can see, price action is very short here, a lot of indecision in this range here. So if we start to see a push to the downside, as of so, into this area, pullback, and then find a momentum to the downside, we could start to see an early opportunity to try get into some selling opportunity. So this is at 0.60480 to 0.60693. So if we do get into that push to the downside again, we'll get in the trade before the trend line, and retail traders will obviously be thinking, how did they get into that trade? You know what I mean? So excuse me, it's all about thinking as the bankers would do, and not try and be a retail trader. It's retail traders that's why people lose, is because they focus too much on the obvious patterns, and it's all about thinking very simple, keep it clean, don't over trade. It's all these principles and disciplines that go a very long way in trading, and in order for you to become a very good trader in the future, you have to adopt all these little skills and learn from them. And this is one key principle that I've been able to develop in my own strategy, and that's to focus more on structure as opposed to the drawing of the lines, etc. So it's just paid off. It pays off a lot more to focus on raw data as opposed to just pure technicals. Okay, so moving on to euro, New Zealand dollar. I've been waiting a long time for this. So as we can see, we've been stuck in this range for a long time. So start of March, so nearly a whole month right now. So as you can see, a huge peak to the upside, indecision, push to the downside, very choppy behavior. Eventually, we're now coming into some regions of interest that we could be potentially shortening this pair, but I will be expecting some pullback. So if we do close above here, we'll be looking for the pullback before we can try run this current downtrend to the downside. If I was to draw this as a quick attempt, it would possibly be something like this, as of so. And as you can see, that's we've made 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, but I can also see another trend line being formed here, and these are called extended trend lines as well. And you can then again, if you wanted to do this, but then it starts to get a bit more complicated as you draw, because the more steeper the trend line that you make, the more likely that you're looking for price to break out, and if it doesn't work, you're more likely to lose out on the trade. So it really does come to personal preference if you want to take this the trends a bit more slower approach. But this is exactly why we focus more exactly on structure. Okay, but so more or less we're looking for that push to the downside, the pullback into this area range, and push to the downside. So this range that I'm focusing on, if I haven't said already, it's at 1.786 to 1.791. So just keep an eye out on that chart, and obviously we'll be looking on this as well, and putting the videos out separately so that you don't have to keep watching the charts. But halfway through on our pairs, so few more pairs to look at, and we'll do a nice review of everything afterwards. So USD JPY, we was looking to actually buy from this pair, but looking at the closure from last week, I'm actually looking to potentially start to sell this pair now. I will be updating our buying range again, but what I want to see is, in order for me to be convinced that we are in a selling condition, I want to see a closure below this zone, following a pullback, and again push to the downside. That will give us a confirmation for us to find that we are moving lower. This zone that I'm paying attention to is at 108.138 to 108.408. It's just purely based on the fact that we're we've redrawn our structure zone, and it's this one here as opposed to this structure here. So that's this target. This red zone will be our first TP target. That's if we do get down here. It's roughly around 100 pips, but more or less it's just waiting for this closure to the downside, and then we will be looking for some shorts. So moving on to our next pair, Canadian dollar to the Japanese yen. And what I've noticed as well is we're stuck again in this range. I can't remember the last time Canadian dollar or Japanese yens have been stuck in a range bound for a long time, but this is one for the year. So 6th of March we've been stuck here, and it's taken a whole month for us to get out of this range. Partly this is all range bound patterns purely means is there's just a big indecision in the markets, and you can't really actually decipher exactly on if this is going to continue to push to the upside or to the downside. So in order for us to make this work for us and adapt to our strategy, we just have to leave this, unfortunately. But there are other pairs to look at, and it's just the matter of patience that is required. So as you can see here, if you was to just trade one pair, and it would have been, let's just say for sake of argument, that you were looking at Canadian dollar to Japanese yen, you would be missing out a lot in terms of a trending momentum pattern for a whole month. So this is why we trade a lot. We focus on a lot of different pairs, but we adapt a long-term approach so that when one of them works, it's going to pay off a lot. And if they all start to slow down, we can focus our attention elsewhere. But if you adopt a short-term trading style, then you can definitely work on focusing on a few pairs, even as little as 3, and you can still make just as much profit and return as looking at the long-term result. So it's all about personal preferences, but in terms of what we're looking at in this market is, as we're purely coming close to our top range zone, I will be looking for a breakout to the upside. So again, this is at 78.194 to 78.799, and again push it upside, the pullback, and we should be looking at some good momentum to the upside. And if not, we could be looking at a very good long-term move here, purely based on the fact of how long we've been ranging for. So again, you'll see this again on a Euro JPY, how we sort of managed to get out, but we just couldn't close above. We're still stuck in between this range, and we've been ranging since the 20th of Feb. So again, this is a very long awaited movement here. So what I will be looking for is a push to the downside. So this range at the bottom is at 116.084 to 116.481. Again, push to the downside, the pullback, and the push to the down. Again, if we do come to the upside, it's at 120.5 to 121.088. Same thing again, but reversed. Push to the upside, pullback, push to the upside again. It's all about patience here again in this pair, but because there is a lot of patience required in this, we'll obviously update everything specifically video wise on our channel. So not to worry if you do miss out, just pay attention on our channel with obviously notifications, etc. Again, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, stuck in this range bound for roughly 6th of March, a month. but we are close to our top zone, so could be good news for a potential trade. If we do break out above here, again following the push and pullback and push again method, the range is at 66.376 to 66.766. Sorry, 776. If we do get that push again, ultimately we will be waiting for some good long-in opportunities. And as I said before, because of the weighted range here for a month, we could be looking at some good long-term move to the upside if we do manage to push out. So coming to our last three pairs, coming to the Aussie dollar to the Japanese yen, we actually have found a breakout of this pair. So we are starting to see some potential move to the upside, but we will be looking to buy into this pair. But if we start to break below this zone here, I will be looking to sell. So this range is between 67.443 to 67.920. Excuse me. So if we do get below here, we'll be looking for shorts. But for the time being, this pair is still moving towards the upside. So yeah, I'm still anticipating some longs. Obviously, we'll update everything in the chat in regards to some entries as well. And last two pairs now. So US dollar to the Swiss franc. We could be looking at some potential move to the upside. That's if we have a closure above this zone. So again, push to the upside, the pullback, and again the push to the upside. So if we find a violation of this zone, so this is between 0.96690 to 0.96878. If we do get that push to the upside, again we're following momentum to the upside. But for the time being, if we do go below this level here, 0.96334, we'll still be pushing and creating new lows. Again, it's just a patient game, and we'll obviously update everything in regards to the pair. EuroCAD, we've been stung on this pair quite a long time. As we can see, we broke out here, but a lot of wick rejections to the downside. We was waiting for a potential move to the upside, but we just got caught out. So huge range push here, and it's stuck within our actual entry range, so it's just unfortunate with that. But yeah, so a lot of slow momentum here. What I'm going to do is just leave this pair until we can find a push and breakout on a lower time frame from this zone here to this zone here. So if you want to put those smaller levels in onto your chart, this top one is at 1.531 to 1.1533, and this bottom zone is at 1.521 to 1.519. So very short term move, but it's ultimately ranging, and it's still very choppy on a smaller time frame, which is very rare to see. But again, this is also within our 4-hour reversal zone as well. So I'm not going to actually leave this pair. Sorry, I just said that. It's just because I know that if this does break out, I do believe that this will move quite a lot. So I think I will be reviewing this pair and keeping a close attention on this in the next few days, just in case that this does make a big move. I'd hate to see this move and not try get into it, but obviously we just have to stay patient and abide by the trading plan. So ultimately that will be all for this analysis video. Pretty much covered all of the pairs that we're watching for. We will be posting gold next. Just a quick video just to show exactly where we're potentially looking to get in on that pair. And something just to mention, as I said at the beginning of the video, we do have a private group that if you want to start to look a bit more deeper into the analysis that I do behind the scenes, because as of the minute you can only see the analysis through video form and it's typically daily, but obviously there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes during the preparation for these videos, and obviously profits and the sorry, not profits, the entry regions vary as time moves. So it'll give you a bit more of an insight of exactly why we don't get into certain trades and why we do get into trades. And hopefully you can start to see and learn a bit more about this strategy as well for yourself, so that you can learn and try it out again for yourself. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So just wrapping it up, if you do have any other questions, make sure you follow me on my Instagram. I'm happy to answer anything trading related, or if you want to be in our private paid group, just drop us a message on our Instagram at KMTRADERS. Happy to help anyone at all. And finally, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel for all the future analysis updates. So thank you very much for listening, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.